Good afternoon and happy Sunday. I'm glad to have everybody here. This is my celebration live that I'm having because I just recently, thanks to everybody who has been watching the channel, just recently hit 1,000 subscribers. Quite excited about that. So if you jump on and join our live and you want to let me know you're here, it's helpful if you just put a, hey, I'm here, or good to be here, or just tell me your name, whatever, in the comments. And that kind of shows up on my screen and lets me know who's involved in the live stream. So good to have everybody here. RC says, hey, channel member RC, great to have you with us. Thank you for your support and helping me get to 1,000 subscribers. All right. Awesome. So we have, I think, let's see, we have 4 here in the live stream already. So like I said, just put something in the comments and say hello, so I know you're here, and can thank you for helping me get to 1,000 subscribers. So that just happened this last Wednesday. It was very exciting. Hey, Ian M. Hello. Great to have you with us here on the channel today. So we are going to be diving into a lot of topics. In fact, as I mentioned in my last live, I've got a lot of different things that I'm going through, and I plan for every one of these live streams. I'm a professor. That's one of the things I do. So I'm used to teaching courses and going through my PowerPoints. And so my first few lives I went through and I didn't really have an organization to it. But I think this is going to work out a lot better. So these are 6 different categories of things, 6 different weekly topics I plan to go over. And, I may not make every Sunday, but I'm going to try here at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoons. That's a time, even with my busy schedule, that I think I can do this most weeks. So that's my plan. In addition to RC and Ian, Kagito Ergo Sum. I don't know if I said that right, but hello. He says hello and hello back. Matt Clausen. Congrats on 1,000 subscribers. It is really exciting. And Matt, because you have a channel, but I mean, to hit that, it's just, when I think back at college degrees and graduate degrees that I got and other accomplishments in my life, this is kind of ranks up there as far as the feeling that you get, because man, I made 182 videos before I finally got to 1,000 subscribers. So it was a big deal. We even had a celebration dinner, my wife and I did, when I hit the 1,000 subscribers. So thank you to everybody who helped me finally get there. Law LC6RC says, hello, good to have you on, and says, happy 1K. All right. Thank you so much. Matt says 850 to 1K was nerve wracking. Yeah. And it's so weird because you think, well, I'm starting to get more subscribers. I'm getting like 2 subscribers a day or 3 subscribers a day. But Matt, you'll have to tell me if this was true for you. It's like the last few days after you hit 1K, then you start getting 10, 12, 15 subscribers a day. It's like, I don't know. It's like maybe some kind of switch is flipped at YouTube when you hit that 1K. But man, that getting those last 100 subscribers was a slog for sure. Matt says 1,750 to 2K was also nerve wracking. Well, thanks for informing me. I guess I got something to look forward to then. So that'll be something. All right. So let's see. We got, I think, 8 in here right now. Ian says, what card did the dinner with your wife go on? Well, it was dinner, and I think this one actually doesn't fit my typical pattern, because normally I would have said the City Prestige card, because that's what we use for all dining. But that one, I've been working on the sub for the American Express Business Gold for 200,000 points. So you got to spend $15,000 in 3 months. So we've been using that a lot, and it does give 4X back on your top 2 spend categories, which dining will be one of them. So I got 4X MR points for that. So that's a good question. Thank you. All right. Matt says, I've had days where I get 10 to 15 weeks with 2 or 3. Yep. That's the way it goes. Also super tempted by the JetBlue promo. Yep. That's what I'm going to talk about today. That's kind of my centerpiece. That's like the main event of what I'm going to discuss. So we'll get to it. Law LC6 says, yes, I want to hear about the JetBlue. Is it worth doing? And then Rodrigo Mendez at Matt Clausen, what's holding you back on the JetBlue promo? So, but we're going to get to that in just a minute. Let me dive into some first things first. So new developments. Everybody's talking about Chase. I don't think, even though I've been watching YouTube videos on points and miles for years now, I don't think I've ever seen anything create as much of a buzz and have as many videos as this new Chase revamp of the reserve card. Matt, you're in here, some others who watch a lot of videos. Have you ever seen, I mean, there's some things that, you know, when cards are redone, it produces a lot of buzz, but have you ever seen one that had more than this one? I mean, today I looked on my feed and like every video was about it, but specifically, because I just did a couple videos on it myself, but specifically what I wanted to talk about under new developments is not necessarily the card. I'll just mention things you already know, but this pop-up jail thing they got going. So they're not just copying American Express with their, you know, different credits and the coupon bookie thing that they're doing, although they are copying it. I don't know if they're doing a good copy or not. Just I guess it depends on the person, but they also are shifting over to this pop-up jail thing. And to me, that pop-up jail deal is probably a positive development, because I actually like that Chase doesn't, you know, give you a hard pull. I mean, excuse me, American Express doesn't give you a hard pull unless they're going to approve you for the card, because I just feel free to just apply for American Express cards. And if they give me the pop-up, then I just back out and I try again in a month or whatever. And I've never felt that way with Chase or with Citi or with Barclays or with Capital One or any of the others. So I think that's a pretty good development, but I wonder what their motive is on it. And I think probably what it is, and y'all tell me if you agree with this or not, but I think what it is they are trying to stop people like us. They're trying to find ways, which American Express, strangely enough, probably instituted the pop-up jail for that reason, but they still give us cards. I mean, lots of cards, like 2 business golds for me within 3 months of each other. So that's that. I don't know. They still send the no lifetime link offers, and they're almost always approved, at least for me when I use those. So I don't know what the reason is exactly, but it seems like Chase is trying to find ways to stop the gamers. But 524 kind of did that. So I'm not sure exactly what their motive was in that. Let me catch up a little bit on a few of the comments. Matt says MX Gold last year. So I'm assuming that's a comment about what card has gotten a lot of buzz with a lot of videos. Yeah, probably so. I do remember a bunch of them then. Seems like this is a little more, but there was a bunch on that. MX Plat will enter the chat in 3 months. Yeah. So when they redo the Platinum card, everybody's going to be talking about that. And I think part of the reason is both Chase and MX have really good referral bonuses. And so it just, people who are creators, they like those cards because you can get a lot out of it in return. So Cogito says, I'm looking forward to the new Delta card. Hopefully it will create a lot of buzz. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking about that too. I'm reserving judgment till it comes out, because I really like the Delta Reserve card. I use it, even though I don't fly Delta that much. That is, to me, the card in my wallet that has a high annual fee that's the easiest to get my value back. I mean, to me, it's just easy, because I don't mind using I have a restaurant. I eat at all the time. That's a Resi restaurant. That's easy. Going to use that companion fare. That's a big portion of the annual fee back. The Delta Stays credit is super, super easy. And I just put $25 in my Lyft account every month if I don't use a Lyft ride, and I get my $10 back on that. So yeah, it's the easiest card in my wallet. And if the one above it gives maybe unlimited lounge access, I don't know what they're going to do with it, but whatever benefits they give, if it maths out the same, I'll probably try to product change to that. So Matt says, Rodrigo Mendez time. Okay. Law LC6. I remember a time when we could get an AMBC. We had applied to many times when all of a sudden we were like their best friend. Oh yeah. Yeah. So that happens to me as well, is that somehow you're in pop-up jail and then boom, suddenly you're not. And you don't know why. You don't have any rhyme or reason to it. So that's true. All right. So this Sapphire Reserve, we know it went up to $795. I mean, all these things we've talked about before. You've heard it in dozens of videos. $300 travel credit, $500 edit credit. That you got to spend some money to get. So that's for high spenders, it seems. $300 dining credit, $300 StubHub credit. And to me, I've heard a lot of people dog on the StubHub credit. Man, I live in the South. Everybody buys ball game tickets. That to me is an easy one. And my wife likes to go to Broadway plays, so those are on StubHub too. So that one would be easy. The dining credit, though, I live in a smaller community. I promise you, there ain't going to be no restaurants within 150 miles of me that are going to be available with that credit. I'd have to use it just when we travel or whatever. And then $1,200 more in potential credits. I put that way because I'm not going to break all those things down. Some of them are ridiculous, like they are with American Express, with Equinox and all that, at least in my opinion. But some of them, the Apple one might be okay. DoorDash, but it's broken out into weird ways that you have to put like an hour's worth of effort in, seems like, to get the money back. So I just put it as one big lump sum, $1,200 more in credits. But this is what it comes down to. Some interesting things. They're approving some people over 524. I think that's intriguing because I guess they're doing that because they want to have a big launch of this card. They really want it to go over really big. So maybe that's the reason. But I doubt that will continue. I mean, Chase has long been, that's kind of their identifier, 524, 524, 524. So I would guess that if you're over 524 and you want to try it, now is probably the best time because that could go away very quickly. They added pop-up jail to it as well. And this is kind of what I wanted to focus on because the pop-up jail, I kind of like that. I'm probably going to have to shift to, I don't know if they're going to do it on all their cards. Maybe one of you have heard, but the pop-up jail, like I said, with American Express, it gives me an opportunity just, I'll try this. And if it doesn't work, then no hard pull, no harm, no foul. So to me, that's probably a good development. Somebody might see it differently. Let me know in the comments. And some approved after backing out. I heard this with the frequent miler guys, that some people had said, no, I'm not going to get the bonus. So they backed out of it. And then they got an approval for the card. And they're like, what's going on? And Chase is honoring that and giving them the bonus. So that's pretty good business practice, I think. Well, let me catch up on the comments. We have 11 in here right now. Law LC says American Express. Yeah, we got that. Also says, sorry for the typo. Mike Newland, congrats on 1K. Mike's a channel member. Thank you. Also, Law LC is a channel member. Thank you guys for your support. It's because of folks that watch the videos and all the kind comments that I get on them. I just am so appreciative. It's been a wild, long ride, 182 videos to get me to 1K. So thank you, Mike. You've been a big supporter. I appreciate it immensely. All right. So the next thing on the list is I like to talk in these about restaurant rewards. I feel like, and I mentioned this in my last live a few weeks ago, I don't feel like restaurant rewards are even discussed in the space, which is wild to me because by and large, across the board, in my experience, they're the best rewards that you can get as far as the highest return. What I mean by that is if you have an account with Chipotle and you go and you buy a burrito or a bowl or whatever you buy there and you use your card, you're going to get your points on your credit card. And sometimes you can even use other things. Like I use the Mileage Plus X app. I've talked about that in videos, and you can get United miles on top of that. And then if you're a member of their rewards program, you get, and I haven't found any that are less than 7%. And many are up 10, 11, 12% back for free food in the future. Well, we go crazy about a credit card that's 5%, but it just seems like these restaurant rewards go under the radar when they're a minimum of 6, 7%. So I've always found that to be odd. So I want to kind of promote a little bit about restaurant rewards because I think it's a great way to triple dip. So the one I want to talk about a little bit today is something called the Upside app that I've been using for about 5 or 6 months now. Let me see if we got any more comments real quick. We got 15 in here at this time. That's awesome. Thank you guys for being here. Put a comment down below so I know you're here. Matt says, Chase does have a solid, we're awesome when they mess up, like the ink cash point issues that sprang up from their error email. Yeah, they have good customer service on their mistakes. There's just no doubt about that. So and this is just another data point to prove that that's true. YouTube experiments here and says, Chase tried to not offer the sub and see if they would accept without the sub. Yeah, that's what the pop-ups really doing for people they don't really want, but they take them to spend money on the card. And then says, I think it was intentional as a cost-saving measure. Yeah, I mean, maybe so. Maybe it's strategic. And then like, well, if they complain, we'll give them back. We'll give them the sign-up bonus. So maybe so. I mean, who knows what internal strategies go on trying to gamify from their end the customer. So that could very well be true. YouTube experiment also says, hit the like button. So if you haven't hit the like button yet, please do that. RC channel member. All right. $4.99 super chat. That is awesome. Thank you so much. That helps out a ton. Also, RC says, congratulations on 1K followers. Exciting milestone. Like I said, 182 videos to get there. It was a big day. It was exciting. Thank you, RC, for being a channel member and for your support. All right. So the Upside app. Well, when it comes to this app, it's a cashback app. So you're not going to get points for it. It's not associated with one of the airlines or one of the transferable currency banks. But Upside, it's just a simple little free app that you download. And I have found it to be very cool because it's got really what I consider to be amazing rewards associated with it, particularly only in two categories, gas and restaurants. And the gas can go, it can be sometimes very good. It can go between 2 and 30 cents per gallon. Now, it's not per dollar spent. So that's kind of an important distinction there. So don't think if you spend $30 that you're going to get 30 cents per dollar. No, it's per gallon. So restaurants, to me, are even a better deal with it because restaurants are from 11% to 28%. Now, I've even seen them higher, but I wanted to kind of give what I see standard. 11% to 28% back. And how they give you the money back is it kind of accumulates in your Upside app, and you can use it for gift cards like you can with Capital. But what I really like about it is you can put in your bank account number and get a direct transfer of your cash back. So it is real cash back, or you can get a check, I think. But that's just, to me, that's better than one of these that you have to go and then you have to use it to buy a gift card. And I've done that with Capital One Shopping and some of those. And then what really is awesome about it is there are triple dip opportunities. Now, what I find when it comes to restaurant deals is that the triple dip opportunities are usually with national chains. You know, there are a lot of great restaurants on Built Dining or American Airlines dining program, and I've used those before with the United dining program. But almost all of those are not chain restaurants. They're usually local restaurants, which you could argue the food's better. I mean, that's probably a reasonable thing to argue. But what was really interesting about it to me is that when you look at that, those places often don't have their own rewards program, and they're hardly ever on one of the rewards programs associated with other ways to double dip. So for instance, I mentioned before the Mileage Plus X app, they have different restaurants on there. And the way the Upside works is you just put in your credit card, or you can upload a receipt. So if you wanted to go through, like Taco Bell is on there all the time. If you wanted to go through, I've gotten 30% back at Taco Bell. And you go through and you could upload your receipt. Once you have a credit card associated with them, you don't have to use the credit card depending on which option you choose, or you could just use that credit card directly. And then if you use the credit card directly, they kind of detect it automatically. They give you your cash back. If you upload the receipt, If you pay with a gift card that you get like through Mileage Plus X, then you're getting your credit card rewards and you're getting the mileage with United from their Mileage Plus X app, and you're getting Upsides cash back. And if you have a Taco Bell account, you're getting points with Taco Bell. That is 4 different ways to earn. So they have triple dip. They even have 4 dip opportunities with this Upside app. I'm going to get to the comments here real quick. Let me turn on my light. Getting kind of dark in here. A little bit of overcast skies here in the south. All right, let's see how many. We have 14 still in here. Cesar says, congratulations. Thank you, Cesar Joel. I appreciate that. It's been a long ride, but finally got to 1,000. Law LC channel member gifted 1 membership to the Rewards Master. Hey, I don't know who that'll go to. I don't know how that works exactly. That's the first one ever. First one ever. Thank you. I'll get another member from that. That's just as good as given to the channel. So I appreciate that very much. YouTube experiment. Congrats, Matt Clausen. So I wanted to give Matt a shout out there as well. Oh, did Matt get the channel membership? Is that what he's talking about? I think probably so. All right. All right. Thank you, Law LC. That's a great way to support the channel. Thank you for being a channel membership and doing so. All right. So these triple dip opportunities, as I said, to me are exceptionally good. So let me show you some examples of this. So this one I pulled, this is in Memphis, Tennessee. This is kind of an example of gas. So you can see on the screen there, Valero is 12 cents a gallon. There's some others that range. In fact, most of them are 9 cents, 11 cents, 8 cents a gallon, 12 cents a gallon. So you just pick that particular gas station and yeah, I mean, you get the extra money per gallon back into your account. But I told you that gas is fine and I use it all the time for that. But where it really starts to rack up is here with restaurants. So here again, Memphis, Tennessee area, I just pulled it up on the app and saw what was available. Church's Texas Chicken, 19%, 20%. It's weird to me, different locations have different amounts. You notice there's the same restaurant in different places and they pay different. There's that KFC down there in the bottom left corner, has a 28% payout. 28%. Now you might say, I don't want to eat KFC, but you get the idea. 28%. There's a Taco Bell at 25%. I mean, where are you going to get returns like that and get your credit card points and get your restaurant reward points? I mean, to me, the Upside app is an amazing, amazing triple dip opportunity, especially with cashback that doesn't have to be used for gift cards, that you can get as literal cashback into your bank account. So that's the Upside app, and I hope it's helpful to some of you. All right. So, yes, YouTube experiment said yes. So Matt got the channel membership. Congrats, Matt. Thank you. I'm glad to have you here. Count Crisco says, gotta love a triple dip. Yeah. I mean, that's, to me, that is just like an adrenaline rush, you know, when you get points in 1 or 2 or 3 different ways by one single purchase. Matt says, thank you at YouTube experiment, and thank you, Law LC6. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. That's a great way to support the channel and appreciate it very much. All right, so now the centerpiece, JetBlue's challenge. Now, I first learned about this from the frequent miler guy, and then I went and did my own investigation. And I'm kind of tempted by this. The thing is, there are potential pitfalls and there are downsides, but it just is so intriguing to me. You know, when I first heard about that SAS challenge last year, that was intriguing, but it's like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to work out flying China Airlines or whatever, or Kenyan Airlines. Or, I mean, you had to fly 15 different airlines in their partnership, in their, what are they in? Not One World, it's SkyTeam. So, I mean, I was like, I can't really make that work. And the expense seemed like astronomical. But JetBlue, until December 31st of 2025, if you fly to 15 destinations, you get 150,000 JetBlue points. Now, I mean, what's that going to take? Well, I looked up some flights and just did a little research, and it was both good news and it was kind of discouraging news at the same time. The good news was that you could get a lot of flights for pretty cheap. I mean, sometimes you could get 2 destinations for like $110 because of the way that it works on what counts as a city in their overall matrix of this. So that was the good news. The bad news is that JetBlue's route network, almost everything goes through JFK or Boston. So if you don't live on the Eastern Seaboard, then you're going to have to do some positioning flights to make this work. Now, when it really gets interesting is after 20 destinations, and if you get to 15, who wouldn't do 5 more to get another 200,000 points? So your total would be 350,000 points for this JetBlue challenge. And then there's another stage. If you hit 5 more and get to 25 destinations, you get Mosaic 1 status, which would be kind of equivalent to American Airlines Gold or United Silver or Delta Silver, basically their bottom tier status. But get this, you get it for not 1 year, not 2 years, for 25 years. Now, the question will be, is there going to be a JetBlue in 25 years? They've had their troubles, but still, just the potential of that seems very, very cool. And 350,000 points, 25 years of status, and 25 destinations just doesn't seem all that impossible for a 6-month time frame till the end of the year. So some of the things that have to be considered about this: only destinations and layovers count, not departure cities. So like, for instance, if I were to drive and fly out of Atlanta, if I'm departing from Atlanta does not count. But if I go through JFK and end up in Detroit, then JFK and Detroit, that would count as 2 towards the 15, 20, or 25. And then when I flew back into Atlanta, that would count Atlanta, but I can't count it again. So what that's going to mean, and this is kind of what I had to figure out, is that I would kind of have to take some days and base in New York or in Boston and make flights and then either fly back on JetBlue, or what I would probably do is try to use Alaska points to get those cheap 4,500 point flights that are within, 500 miles or whatever, and fly back to Boston using those miles and then fly out again. And it would be a tedious nightmare in that way. But I think it could be doable, especially with Alaska points, with maybe some American miles, maybe some United miles, and not have to spend an absolute fortune. So when I was doing the math on it, I think it would cost me between $2,500 and $3,500, and then maybe 50 to 100,000 of my points with other currencies to be able to get this challenge completed by the end of the year. And it's going to take several days. I mean, I'd have to take a couple, 3 days, 2, 3, 4, 5 times during the year to make this happen. Now, one thing that I did want to point out is, really, if you want to get really good routes that aren't that far, so you can jump back and forth, at least when I was looking at it for myself, you're either out of Boston, JFK, but sometimes Orlando. It seems like they have a lot of flights in and out of Orlando to unique destinations. So that might be a good place, fun place to base out of. And then also with this, there's no registration required. So I haven't decided if I'm going to do it or not. If I do, I'll chronicle it on the channel and let everybody see what's going on with it. But the thing is that I've got to decide, do I want to take the time? Do I want to spend the money? And do I want to spend the points? And is the reward worth the cost and the time involved? And I'm just not sure. I'd love to hear what some of you think about it. Let me go back and look at some comments. Let's see. We have 14 in here still. Law LC6 says, oh, good question. Would you still have the status on United? Yeah, that's something else that I had a little bit earlier up there on the screen under the 25 destinations. They have a partnership as of right now with United, where if your status with United, then you get some benefits with JetBlue. And if your status with JetBlue, you get some benefits with the United. Now, you're probably not going to get seat upgrades, but the way I understand it, with that Mosaic 1 status on United, you can get like same day upgrades to like the extra legroom seats, stuff like that, free check bags, maybe priority boarding, stuff like that. So basically, it's kind of light United status as well for as long as that partnership lasts, which really is kind of why it's appealing to me, because where I fly from, there's a lot more opportunities to fly on United and better deals than would be with JetBlue. All right. YouTube experiment. Maybe another airline will honor it. Yeah, there's been talk. The frequent miler guys talked about that maybe United was going to buy JetBlue. Boy, wouldn't that be sweet if they bought it and then honored it and you got 25 years of United status, but I wouldn't be holding my breath on that. But I mean, who knows what'll happen with that in the future. So yeah, that's why I'm struggling. I'm like really, really pulled in both directions, because the SAS challenge was just not one I could do. This is one I could maybe pull off because I got 6 months to do it. And I could do the funds and I could do the points to jump back and forth to get where I'm going to do. It'd be exhausting, but hey, we do exhausting things all the time. So Matt says, if JetBlue were acquired by United, they would likely honor Mosaic 1 for some time, but not more than 5 years. Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. I mean, can you imagine United saying, okay, well, you guys have, status, silver status for 25 years. I just can't imagine that would be honored. But you're right. They would probably have to honor it for a little while, and then who knows where it would go from there. Yeah, Law LC says 25 years is a long time, and it is. Manuel Jimenez is here, says, hello all. Well, welcome, Manuel. We're glad to have you here. We're celebrating my 1,000 subscribers that I finally got to, and thank you for being a part of the celebration here. Cesar Joel says, JetBlue also has cheap flights to Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. Yeah, I mean, if I do this for sure, I'm going to use JetBlue to fly to the creator meetup this fall, because I've already got a hotel booked, planning to come, get to know everybody. And I think that would be a great way to get there. So that would probably get me a couple of my destinations right there. Thank you, Cesar. Appreciate that. All right. We have 16 in the live stream. If you haven't hit the like button, please do that. If you're not subscribed to the channel, that really helps me. So please do that. It doesn't cost you anything. So that's what I'm thinking about JetBlue. Like I said, I'm torn. That's the basic rundown on what the promotion is. I think it's kind of, I don't know. It's just that, and JetBlue is pretty smart. I mean, they took the thunder away from all this Chase and American Express and all that. Here old JetBlue, who's been struggling, comes out with a promotion that kind of is exciting. So we'll see if I think that it's going to work out for me in the future. All right, moving on to upcoming trips. So this is one of the things I'm going to include in all the live streams, just to tell a little bit about some of my own redemptions. Looks like my slide got a little wonky there. I don't know. I guess StreamYard did that. But we have an upcoming trip to Berlin. But first, we're going to Abu Dhabi and Dubai. We're flying over to Abu Dhabi on Etihad in business class. And then we're spending couple days there, spending a few days over in Dubai. And then we're flying on Qatar through Doha from Dubai back straight to Berlin. And we're going to spend, I think, 4 nights in Berlin. And on that trip, we're going to stay in a boutique hotel. Now, if you watch my videos, I don't have a problem paying for hotel nights. I just find hotel points to be extremely, extremely undervalued, as far as I can't use them for that much value. And 5.5 cents per point, 0.6, 0.8 just doesn't seem very good. So I'd rather get cards that give me airline miles that I can use for great value, and then just pay for my hotels. But I do like to use some of my benefits. So for this hotel, it was $203.18 a night, averaged out over the 4 nights. And so I used my City Prestige card, and it should have been well over $800, but it only cost me $609.54 for the 4 nights, because City Prestige twice a year gives you a 4th night free benefit. Now that benefit is really cool because it works on $100 a night hotel room, or it works on $1,000 a night hotel room. So you can get as much value as you want with that card. Now, I can't tell you to go get that card, but because nobody can get it anymore, I'm grandfathered into it. But that's kind of how I booked that, and I just wanted to share that with everybody. Then we're going to fly at the end of our 4 days there. We're going to fly a positioning flight that I bought with 7,500 United miles each from Frankfurt to Frankfurt from Berlin on Lufthansa. And that's just, I think it was $5.60 in taxes and fees each, something like that. So that's just a quick positioning flight, which puts us with about a 2.5, 3 hour layover in Frankfurt to catch our Condor business class flight to JFK from Frankfurt. Now, I don't know, has any of y'all flown Condor? Their planes are crazy looking. I mean, they are, the stripes on them, I think they kind of look pretty cool. So I'm excited. I've seen some videos on Condor's business class, but I haven't ever flown it. This will be a first time for us. So let me know if you've flown it and if you think it's very good. But it's 55,000 Alaska points, and that was $181 in taxes and fees, which was kind of steep, $181 in taxes and fees. But when you do the math on that, it really wasn't the type of redemption I really like to do, but business class is business class. Because usually I'm getting 4, 5, 6 or more cents per point. But the reason this one's so low is because Condor doesn't charge a lot for their business class. It would have been $1,712 in cash to fly that flight. So when you subtract out the taxes and fees, that's about a 2.8 cent per point redemption, which is not near as good as usual, but it's 2.8 cents per point. So that's not all that bad. And we'll get to fly a different product than we've flown before. So has anybody flown on Condor in their business class? Have you heard anything about it? So let me know what you say down below. All right. RC channel member says, never flown Condor, but look forward to the review. Yeah, I mean, we'll film it and we'll let you know how it goes. And certainly, it's business class. How bad can it be? I mean, it's going to be way better than flying in the back on any airline. So, and they have lie down seats and all that. So we'll see what the service is like. So looking forward to it. All right, let's see. We have 18 in here. If you haven't yet signed in and putting a note that you're here, then do that so I know that you're here and I can thank you. And if you haven't hit the like and subscribe button, do that as well. That helps me out. It doesn't cost you anything. So that'd be great. Be great. All right. Reward deal of the day. So this is one that I want to talk about. I subscribe to Thrifty Traveler Premium and get their award deals, but sometimes there's stuff I would use, sometimes they're not. But this one kind of caught my eye because we've been to a lot of places in Europe. I don't know, 6 or 8 countries in Europe. We're going to Germany, as I said, this fall. But one place we haven't been that we want to go is Ireland. And they had a deal with Aer Lingus business class from New York City to Dublin or Shannon. So you had 2 different options, 45,000 Alaska points and $19 in fees on a business class product, lie down flat seats. And I thought, man, that's a pretty good, that's a smoking good deal, because I often don't blink at 60,000 point redemptions or 70,000 point redemptions in business class. So that seems pretty good. You can book it with BA, with British Airways, or I guess any of the other Avios, but on British Airways, it's 60,000 points, which still doesn't sound too bad. But here's where it really ramps up. $150 in taxes and fees, which sounds like a lot because we just talked about the $19 in taxes and fees with Alaska. But for British Airways, $150 in taxes and fees, that's really not bad. That's kind of low. Sometimes, man, some of their taxes and fees are just out of this world expensive. I've seen $1,000 taxes and fees on a business class flight to London. And so $150, not great. So certainly that Alaska deal is better if you have Alaska points, but not everybody has Alaska points. Now that the American Express kind of loophole backdoor through Hawaiian Airlines is over, a lot less people are going to have Alaska points. So if you don't have those, then the British Airways might be a decent option. And there's availability all throughout August and September, at least as of a couple of days ago, there was. So just wanted to tell you about this deal. I was intrigued by it, looking into it, thought it might be of interest to all of you as well. Urisbu says, didn't fly it, talking about the Condor business class, but heard Dugras talking on his live that he had issues with Condor. Yeah, I think I saw that live as well. And I think it was like it had to be canceled, or maybe, oh, I remember. They canceled him, if I remember correctly. And then it was just a nightmare getting it all figured out. So I hope that doesn't happen to us. So yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Yuri Spoo. Appreciate that. All right, let's see what we got. We've got 20. That's the most we've had so far. 20 in the live stream. Appreciate y'all all being here. All right, the last thing that I have on the agenda is status stuff. So I have status with a couple airlines. I fly a lot for work, so status really matters to me. And I think it's important to note that sometimes people get excited about chasing status, but if I didn't fly as much as I do, in fact, I fly between 15 and maybe 25 times a year, depending on the year, for work and for our personal trips and stuff. And if I didn't fly all that much, I just don't think I'd care that much about it. Because let me give you an insider perspective. I have the second to the highest status on both American and on Delta. So I have Platinum with Delta, I have Platinum Pro with American. And I do not get very many upgrades. I mean, like in the last year, I've got maybe, if it had been a month ago, I would have said 0. But the last trip I took this last month, I did get 3 upgrades. So and those were, I flew both Delta going and American coming home, and I got the upgrades on American. So it's Delta, no, just a Comfort Plus. And so I just don't, everything that glitters is not gold. You know, don't believe all the hype. The status does have some benefits. What I particularly like is getting the extra legroom seats for free when you're booking. And, you know, the free bags are nice and getting to board earlier and all that. But if you're thinking you're going to get lots and lots of upgrades, unless you're really high status, so top status, but even my buddies that are that, they don't get a lot of upgrades anymore. They're going to concierge key, or they're going to, what do they call it with Delta? Delta One or whatever it may be. They're going to global services with United. And so that's everything that glitters is not gold. But when it comes to status stuff, I wanted to talk today about the Shell partnership with American Airlines. So Shell gas stations, if you register for this, every time you fill up there, you just put in your cell phone number into the pump. And when you sign up initially, you'll get 250 miles, American Airlines miles. And this doesn't, and it isn't a lot. I mean, it just isn't. But you do get 3 American Airlines miles per gallon, and 3 loyalty points per gallon. Now, you might say, well, that's not very much. Well, no, but, you know, if you fill up, if there's a Shell gas station convenient to you and you do this all the time, a couple of years ago, we did this almost every time. And I did get about 3,000 to 4,000 American miles, those are worth something, because American miles are very valuable. But what really helped me is I got 3,000 to 4,000 loyalty points. And that year, that was the amount of points that bumped me over to the next level of status to keep my Platinum Pro. So it's just a little thing, but this is just a screenshot of what it looks like in the app. This is in my American Airlines app. So when I go to the activities page, it shows you that the date that you purchased it, how many American miles you got, how many loyalty points you got for that purchase. So that's just what I wanted to share with you, because it can help you a little bit with miles, but particularly if you're close on loyalty points and you just use this all year long, it did bump me up to the next loyalty point threshold. All right, well, that's what I've had today so far. Let me catch up on comments and just see if anybody has anything else they want to add. RC channel member says, I agree. It's hard to get status if you don't fly all the time, and it doesn't seem worth it to chase it if you can't get it organically. That's exactly right. I mean, to me, chasing status is when you already maybe have some status and you can kind of tweak the system or find ways to maybe get a little bit more in your whatever metric it is that's going to help you get to the next level of status. And that can be beneficial. Or if you fly enough that you're almost to that first level of status. But if you're just going to start from zero and I'm going to pursue status and I fly 3 times a year, that is, I'm telling you, in my experience, that is just not worth it. It is just not worth it. You got to go through too many hoops to get there. Thank you, RC. That was a good observation. Lajala says, yep, doing this now with fuel rewards as you speak. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've done it. It's not a lot of points, but you know, as part of your regular routine, it does help with your points, and it does boost up those status loyalty points just a little bit. All right, now that we're at the end of all of those points, we're at 17 still in here. Any last comments? Anything anybody want to share? I want to say, I give a special shout out to, first of all, everybody who watches my videos and lives. 1,000 subscribers. It was like 3 years coming. I mean, 182 videos to get there. And what an amazing day when I saw it turn over. And that was just great. And it's because of all of you and the support and watching the videos, the encouraging comments, all the likes, all the subscriptions. By the way, if you haven't liked and subscribed on this video, please do that. But it's just, I can't thank you enough. I'm deeply grateful. I feel so blessed. So thank you so much. And then I also want to thank both Law LC, who gifted a channel membership. I think that Matt Clausen was the recipient of that. So thank you, Law LC. That's a great way to support the channel. Thank you for that. And then RC gave a $4.99 super chat. So RC, thank you so much. And those really help support the channel, and I appreciate it deeply anytime anybody gives any of those shout outs and super chats, super stickers, gifts, memberships, things of that nature. So speaking of membership, I have a membership. It's just $2.99 a month. And I do, talking about redemptions, I do special redemption videos that my members get to choose where to go and what month. And so I take that input from polls and I try to produce good content for them, for members only. I have special members only videos. I release my videos early for members. And I also have a Discord channel for members where you can get in there and we can chat and ask questions and converse with other channel members. So it's $2.99 a month. You can cancel anytime that you want. So if you would, check that out. But thank you all for being here. No more comments that I see down below. So I guess it's about time to wrap up. Thanks a lot, and we will see you here next time.